Hey guys, it's Audra and welcome back to 365 Projects. I'm looking a little rough today because we are doing the makeup book tag. I'm excited to finally get this one done and get another tag up because I said I would do one every other week and I haven't done one for like a month. So here you go, let's just get started. The first question is primer, and pick a book that leaves a lasting impression. First, the primer I'm going to use is the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. I just take a pump, put it on my finger, and then dot it around my face and rub it in. So I'm really not sure if this does anything, but I use it anyways. So now that I have that rubbed in, the book that I pick for the lasting impression would be The Language of Flowers. This I read like a year or two ago, is recommended to me by a friend, and I'll pop up the pictures right here of all the covers so you can see them. But this one was about a woman who had been through some traumatic things in her life through the foster care system, and she figures out she has this gift, even though she doesn't really want to use it, that if somebody comes into the flower shop, she can build them a bouquet based off of what's going on in their life. And it sounds really quirky and weird, but it's really like deep and dark of what she has dealt with and how she is trying to process these things as who she is as a woman now. And I binge read it in a weekend. And I haven't had that feeling of like binge reading something like so deep and dark since then. And I'm still struggling to find the next book that I have that reaction to. So I guess that would be why it's left a lasting impression, just because I'm still looking for that read that meets how I felt when I finished and as I was reading that book. The next one is concealer, and to pick the character that you would like to get rid of. And before I talk about the character, the concealer I'm going to use today is Bye Bye Under Eye by It Cosmetics. I got this as a sample, and I've been using it since, and I love it. It's full coverage without looking too cakey. So I just put some here, and then I will blend it with my finger. Normally I don't use my finger, but this stuff is really thick, so you kind of have to like warm it up as you go. So anyways, the character I would consider getting rid of is Astrid from The Orphan's Tale. Now, I understand why she was the way she was and being so angsty and mean toward Noah, I think is how you said her name, but it was just like almost overdone and overused, like how much anger she had towards everyone and how much she didn't want to love. And I just wasn't in her corner for the most part. At the end, I mean, yeah, who wouldn't be? But the whole story, she kind of drove me nuts. But anyways, let's finish blending this in. And then after that, I do kind of pounce it in with my beauty blender just to kind of blend it into my skin a little bit more. And when we put foundation over top, it won't be as harsh. And the question to go with foundation, which my favorite is number 7, Lift and Illuminate, is the first book in a series, your favorite first book in a series. So actually I'm just going to pump a couple pumps on my hand, and we'll get pouncing this into the skin while we talk about my books. So for this one, I actually picked a couple different ones that are my favorite series and the only series I've really read every single book. I am not a series reader. I feel like I'm missing out on everything else. And so my favorites would be starting with The Pawn by Stephen James. It is a murder mystery series that's actually pretty lengthy. The chapters are short, which I love, so it moves fast. But the first book in this series is the best mystery I've ever read. And like how everything is connected in a crazy way was phenomenal. And even though the other books really didn't match my feelings toward The Pawn in this series, like it's still one of my favorites. Blend, 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 blend. And then we'll fix my hair. And then the next one would be The Surgeon by Tess Garrison. This is another murder mystery where the killer is insane. The things that happen were probably the first time I've ever been like disgusted by a book and like shocked, I think. And so I think that's why it stuck with me. There's a lot of books in the series, and then they also turned it into a TV show, and I highly recommend it if you like those kind of books. All right, gotta get the hair going again. It's time for a haircut. This is just awful. So the opposite side of that last question would be the favorite last book in a series, which is Powder, to like set it in place, so finishing it up. And actually for this, with the foundation that I use, I just powder my under eyes, set my concealer. I do not set the rest of my face because I want it to be dewy since my skin is so dry after chemo. My favorite series ender would be Brush of Wings. It's the third book in the Angels Walking series by, I think, Karen Kingsbury. She's a really popular inspirational writer, so that's different than what I normally read. But this one is about basically angels that are supposed to save the earth. And it's just real life situations. I think I love this one the most because it did have some situations where they were helping orphans in Africa, and I love that part. And there is a love story, and the third book was actually my favorite book of the whole series, so that usually doesn't happen. So that would be my favorite series ender. And like I said, I don't read series a whole lot, so that one has stuck with me. I guess the powder, I should probably tell you the powder that I did use. I used the RCMA No Color Setting Powder. It's in this weird like spice bottle for 12 bucks, but it is really great. And I poured it out into another container so I can just dip my beauty blender in and pat it in. The next step would be bronzer or contour. I just use bronzer because I use my favorite, the butter bronzer. This smells great, but it also is a great color for me. This one is just broken to pieces because it broke in the airplane when we went to North Dakota. So I just put this kind of like in a 3 around my face and my forehead and to blend it all in. So the question that goes with this one is a book that needs like slimmed down because bronzing and contouring slims down your face or makes it look that way, I suppose. So my pick would be one of the latest books that I've read, and that would be A Tangled Mercy by Joy Jordan Lake. We read it for a book club. It was a really great read. It went back and forth in history about a slave revolt, and they try to figure out if one of the slaves is still alive and how they're related to the family in current day. It is a fantastic read, and I absolutely liked it a lot, but the middle was very slow. There were some people in our book club that did not finish it because they struggled. It was a harder read to get into because it was lengthy, like 450 pages, I guess. So, oh my stars. Excuse me. So yeah, I think that would be the one that could be a little less. But other than that, I think I gave it 4 stars. And I'll talk more about it in my monthly wrap-up, so you can kind of stay tuned for that. I also do down the sides of my nose to bring out that, I guess. So the next step that I do is a highlight, and my favorite is from Stila, and this is in Kitten. This is like actually like a putty highlighter, but it is super pretty color, and then I use like a packing brush of sorts to blend it in because it's kind of hard to work with a regular highlighting brush because it is a different formula. But I love the color, so let's just get this going. So the highlight question is a book that brightened your day, and mine would be The Summer of Hammers and Angels. It is a quick middle grade read about a girl who is basically trying to keep her house from being condemned. They are told that they're going to have to move out, and while they are trying to kind of go through this, her mom gets struck by lightning and is in the hospital. So it's about how her and her friends try to save the house and how the community comes together. And at the end, it's just a feel-good ending. It is so stinking predictable, but it just makes you feel good, and it brightened my day. So, and the cover is like summer and sunshine, so I mean, that kind of goes with the whole thing too. After highlight, I go right into blush, and I have been using this sample of Litchi and Gold. I have no idea how you get a hold of this company. This is an Ipsy bag. It's Healthy Glow Rose Gold Blush, and I love it, and it smells nice. So you can't go wrong with that. It kind of has like an ice cream. What would that be called? Oh, come on, chemo brain. Yogurt, frozen yogurt. maybe? I don't know, whatever. It smells good, it smells sweet. Um, so I just put this on my cheeks and blend, 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 blend. Bring some more color back. Anyways, the question that goes with the blush is a cringeworthy romance, and I don't read a whole lot of romance at all, so this was hard. And I actually picked a book that I recently just finished like a day or two ago, so I'm not going to talk a whole lot about it because it'll be in my next wrap up. But the book I picked was Final Girls, and this is like a thriller, like a gory thriller about the last girls that are left after these massacres and how they all find each other and like what they're going through after one of them is murdered. And two times throughout the book, the main character becomes like somebody you're like, who are you? Why did you just sleep with this person? And I was like, no, these people are bad. Like twice, two times, she slept with the wrong guy. I'm not gonna tell you who that is because it'll ruin it. But it was cringy, 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 and I didn't like it. So let's just move on. My next step does not have a question to go with it, but I always prime my eyes with the MAC Painterly Paint Pot because that's the thing that you do. Just put it on, put it on. Gives you a base to put your eyeshadow on and something to stick to, especially if you have oily eyelids. This would be a good trick to keep your makeup on longer. So after the eyes are primed, obviously we're going to go into eyeshadow, and I'm going to use a brand new palette. This is Give It To Me Straight by ColourPop. This is like my colors through and through. Like, it's gorgeous, and it's like 16 bucks, so you can't beat it. They are very pigmented. And so yeah, I'm going to obviously dip into Matter of Fact, this color here, to set the primer, and then we'll get started with the look. But anyways, the question that goes with eyeshadow is to pick a book with your favorite color on the cover. And my favorite color is green, which apparently for some reason it's hard to find a green cover, which it sounds ridiculous, but it is. So I finally chose One for the Murphys. It is a middle grade novel, and basically I chose it because I just wanted to talk about it and recommend it to you. There is green on the cover because she's laying in grass. I also love the teal color that's around her. But this one is about a girl in foster care and how she is struggling to decide how she fits into this family and why they really want to have her, why they want to take care of her, so she gets confused, and how she still loves her mom even though her mom let her new husband essentially abuse her or hurt her. And this ending, the last 15 pages, I bawled through. I have never cried so much in a book. And I don't cry in books at all, usually. This one tore me apart at the end. I cried for 15 pages straight, and I have never done that before. I haven't done it since. And it's a middle grade book about a foster care child. It was amazing. Now, not only is it a great book, and I'm very passionate about it because my family did foster care growing up, so I was a foster sibling. I was not in foster care myself. But recently I've had foster care students reading this book at school, and they've loved it too. And then they hand it to their friends, and I heard one of them the other day say, "This is my life. You need to read it." And it's heartbreaking, but it's true about how kids want to see themselves in books. Anybody does. And so I cannot recommend this book enough. I love it. The kids love it. You definitely need to read it. Before I get emotional about it, just read the dang book. And then I'm going to go with a little deeper color, Frank. And I'm going to have to get a little closer. This is going to go and make it a little bit more dimensional in the corner. So I'll just kind of show you where I lay it, and then I'm going to get my mirror out and do this off camera. Because I am not good at doing this backwards. I have not figured out how to flip the camera. But I still wanted to do this tag, so I'm doing it. Now, since I have that down, I'm going to go back in with my first blending brush and just like blend all the edges together so it's seamless and there are no harsh lines. Now, my next step is going to be to add a little shimmer to the eyelid, and they're all really pretty. I think there's like 4 shimmers right here and then one down here. I'm going to use maybe a little bit of Straight Up and Fortnite. Get that on a packing brush, and then I spritz it. That was puny. I need to get more spritzing spray. With That was Max 6 Plus, by the way. And then this just goes on the eyelid in the front part of the eye. Pretty easy to do. And just buff it into the eye and make it shine. And then I do take this weird little smudger brush. You can see it's kind of flat and round and whatever. And I'm going to take that first color that we use and kind of blend it into the bottom under the under eye. So it blends everything together for when I add like eyeliner and stuff. Now it's time to move on to eyeliner, and that's kind of a trick question for me because since chemo, I have not used eyeliner. I hate it. I found out when my eyelashes fell out after I was done with chemo, it is hard to use eyeliner when you don't have eyelashes to follow along with. And so I started using eyeshadow as eyeliner, and I have not gone back since. So what I do is I just take the darkest color here. It's kind of like a brownish maroony color. It's really pretty. And I'm going to use that as eyeliner across the eyelid. And of course, I'm going to need a mirror to do this a little bit better. Of course, this is not going to be a harsh line like an eyeliner would be, but this fills in and makes your eyelashes look thicker, which is exactly what I'm going for. After chemo, my eyelashes did not come back the same. I always had like the longest eyelashes, and everybody thought they were fake. But now I have a slice of humble pie with my short and like straight out eyelashes from chemo, but it is what it is. Chemo worked, so I'm not complaining. The question that went with this was Dark and Mysterious, and I'm going to go with Dark Places and Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. Her books were the first books that I read that were like dark and twisty thrillers. And it was before her Gone Girl days. These two are so much better than the original one. You definitely need to read them. Sharp Objects is on my reread list for the year, but yeah, I highly recommend it if you want something that's dark and twisty and like shocking. These are good ones. The last thing I do with my eyes before eyebrows and mascara, I'm going to take this like shiny highlighter color and I put it on the inner corner. This just wakes up the eyes a little bit more. Makes your eye color pop, at least for me. I don't know. All the beauty gurus do it, so that's why I do it. So I'm definitely loving this palette, and I'm going to keep using it and see what I think after a month or so. You might see it in a favorites video soon. Who knows? My next step is the hardest step, so I'm doing it off camera, but it is the eyebrows. Like I said, with my eyelashes, my eyebrows have changed. They are still like, this never grew back up here. And they've fallen out twice. And I just need to get things microbladed because at this point, the whole drawing on eyebrows and them coming off during the day is embarrassing. It's bad. But I use the Precisely My Brow pencil so I can like draw it on exactly. And then I feather it out with the Gimme Brow, both by Benefit Cosmetics. So anyways, I'm going to do this off camera and I'll be right back. So I guess I could show you this part because this is kind of interesting. But what I do first is I do the outline of where I want everything to go. And I leave this part open here so I can feather it in so it looks a little bit more natural, even though it's not going to look natural at all. But this is the middle part. I'm going to fill them in and I'll be back. Okay. So of course, on filming day, you always have the worst brows. That's kind of like the law of nature apparently at this point. So another trick that I use is I keep one of these clean spoolies to like reshape things if you go a little overboard. I had some caterpillars on my eyes and I had to fix them, I'm not gonna lie. But anyways, the question that went with eyebrows is a book that everyone should read. And I picked a book that I felt should have gotten more hype than The Hate You Give last year, which is, I know it's a big claim, but it did win more awards, like literary awards in the last few weeks. So this is Piecing Me Together by Renee Watson. I love this book. It's a book about a black teenager who has a dream of being an artist and she just wants to do her art. And she is paired up with a mentor who lives a much nicer life than she does. And people just assume the wrong things about her, that she wants handouts, that she needs scholarships, that she needs to be given all these things in order to succeed. And it's just a message to everybody, and especially as a teacher, that we cannot assume anything about any specific culture that they don't want to work through things themselves. I don't know. It struck a chord with me, and I think everybody needs to read it. Definitely check this one out if you have not read it yet. When I'm done with brows, I go back to do mascara, and like I said, my lashes are now straight. So I'm going to curl them with the help of my mirror because I'm not doing that on the screen. I curl, curl, curl to try to help these puppies out. I don't know if it really does anything, but it makes me feel like it does. So after that is obviously mascara, and I've gone back to using the Benefit Roller Lash. I love that it separates the lashes, it makes them longer. I do not like how it doesn't really dry down all the way, but let's go ahead and do some mascara. Now the question that goes with this is to pick a long book. Like long lashes, get it? Yeah. I'm going to go with Swan Song by Robert McCannon, I think. I had to look this up on my Goodreads because I read it a long time ago. Probably like 5 or 6 years ago. It's the longest book I've ever written at like 950 pages. But basically it's just a post-apocalyptic world. So if you want a book that is going to take you eternity to read and talks about the end of the world and how people treat each other horribly through a nuclear war and feast, famine, all that kind of stuff, check out this one. Yay! And then I also do my under eye. Oh my gosh, I just poked that crap out of my eyeball. Well, that was fun. Okay. There we go. That was embarrassing. And then once again, this spoolie is great if you get mascara underneath your eyelid and you need to scrape it off. Probably not the best for your skin, but it's a trick. There you go. And the last step before setting it in place will be lips. And normally I don't wear a whole lot of lip stuff, but I did get the new ColourPop formula of lipstick, which I'm not a fan of liquid lips. So I do like the ColourPop formulas, and I wanted to try out their lipstick. So I have two colors. This one is in Pinkies Up. That's cute. It's a darker one. And then I go into the middle and blend in with a lighter one, which is Stone Fox. As you can see, I've used them together already, which is gross. But anyways, let's do that. And the question that's going to go with this is your favorite book kiss. Now, like I said, I don't read a whole lot of romance books, so this one was a tough one. I have started the hating game, and I've gotten to the elevator scene, which everybody else has talked about in this tag, so I figured I might as well get on the elevator train. And it's hot, it's steamy, it's a good kiss. And it's only like a fourth of the way through the book, if that, so I have no idea where the rest of this book is going to go and how interesting it's going to get, but that's what I'm going to use, so there you go. So then I just put the lighter color in the middle, and then blend it out. Using the ombre effect makes your lips look bigger if you are needing that without having to get lip fillers. Because I don't need any more needles in my life. I have got enough of them to last me the rest of my life. So, anyways, let's get the setting started. I have very little left, and I need to get more. But, ugh, that was awful. That was a Max Fix Plus. The one that goes with this is the best setting. For the best setting, I couldn't really think of any. I don't read any like summer beachy reads at all. So anyways, I actually picked Words in Deep Blue, which if you've been around here for a couple months at least, you'll know this is my favorite book from last year. Not that it's an outstanding book by any means, but because it is like me in a nutshell. The setting of this is in a bookstore, and really, you can't get any better than that in my book. My bookstore, library, whatever, so I love the setting of this. And I love the character and her trouble she goes through after grief of losing her brother, which I relate to because I've done the same thing in the last 5 years. And so, yeah, this book is basically me in a nutshell. If you want to learn more about me as a person or just read a good book, check it out. All right, guys, this is the final look. Finally got the makeup book tag finished. It's been forever coming. I've wanted to do it, but just sitting down and planning it out, it just takes a lot of time between the makeup part and the book part, but we got it done. So if you like this video, please hit the like button. Also subscribe if you want to see more from me. And yeah, I guess I'll just see you guys next time. Bye, guys.